Have you seen any other improvements in terms of like things you used to do digitally, versus like now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can now register your business online.
Okay.
You can now, well, as much as is possible. There's a decent amount of the process that can be done digitally, and I guess we have to appreciate that. I know that you can get your driver's license a lot quicker now,
Okay.
probably in less than an hour, maybe even 30 minutes in Uganda right now, which is mostly because that process is
Nice.
digital.
Nice.
So there's definitely improvements in a lot of ways. There's a lot of things that you can do online. If you go to some private hospitals now, you can access your medical records online.
Okay. Okay.
And we used to have these pink forms at the clinic when we were kids because we were getting malaria every 3 to 5 business days. And so we used to go to the clinic and we used to have these pink
That's
forms
scary.
that they'd put. It's reality. And I remember it was amazing to me because these nurses always knew where the forms were and they could find them so quickly. But when you'd walk in there, it looked like chaos,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to find anyone's card
Yep.
in this thing? But you just be like, Opolot, sit there. She'd go behind there, come back with this pink like bundle of like, my medical history, just malaria, 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 malaria,
Jesus.
right? And it was just, all the changes is the different
Yeah.
medications that we've used over time. Yeah,
That's
but
crazy.
but now you go back there now
Yeah.
and she has a computer and she's like up a lot. I'm like, geez, when did we
Yeah.
get here? That's amazing.
Yeah.
So of course there's little incremental progress, which is again I think also inevitable in a
Yeah.
in a way, but also maybe intentional. So
Yeah.
we have to also give credit
Yeah.
where it's due.
From a record standpoint, I think it's called EMR. Do you guys have is there like a good record system in
You're actually asking me. That's my area of, I wouldn't call it expertise, but my area
Okay.
of interest.
Okay.
It's my area of interest is health information. That's actually what my dissertation is.
Okay.
Uh, but I mean, there's no national EMR
Okay.
in Uganda at least. Not yet. Not yet. A lot of the players in the private sector use similar EMRs
Okay.
uh, provided by private vendors. You hear names like Clinic Master, you hear Epic. There's all these like
Yeah.
vendors that distribute EMR systems and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But the government system, no, there's nothing national yet. We still use a lot of the DHIS to which everyone in Africa, almost everyone in Africa is familiar with. It's a technology built by a Norwegian company, which
Gotcha.
helps government capture specific health information that's relevant for programming at a whole on a
Gotcha.
national level. But it's very, very limited, but it's the best we can do for now. I
Yeah.
think it's in the works. I think the digitization of the health space is in the works. I've seen a lot of publications about it, a lot of strategic plans, even though that's the stuff we're really good at. We're very good at strategic plans
Not the
versus, yeah.
implementation. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the documents are there,
Yeah.
which at least shows you there's a thinking. There's thinking that's happening, there's
Yeah.
planning that's happening. Hopefully, there'll be more executing that's happening. Of course,
Yeah.
digitization is an expensive venture,
Right.
but
So in terms of like the I guess the actual like vendors in the space, are a lot of them white labels or a lot of them like homegrown programs or software that's actually built in Uganda?
built in Uganda, probably not. No,
Okay. Okay.
no. I don't know who owns Clinic Master. It gives the vibe like it's homegrown, but I don't think it is. I don't think
Gotcha.
it is.
Gotcha.
So what term did you use? White label? It's yeah, it sounds like that, but I can't say. I don't know. I don't know where it's from.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
but but yeah, no, most of them are foreign entities. Another thing that happens is a lot of private hospitals will come into the industry and then they'll sort of bring in their tech team from
Yeah.
wherever they're from. We have some hospitals that come from South Africa and they just like onboard their software that comes from wherever it comes from, South Africa, Israel, wherever.
Okay. Okay.
That's what tends to happen.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean,
And when
it's go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, and when our government decides to implement an EMR, they probably will also get some international vendor to implement it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that on that level, I don't know what that would look like. Maybe maybe some WHO partnership with the Norwegian DHIS2 guys will maybe come up with
Yeah,
some massive EMR solution to be implemented Africa wide. Maybe that's what that will look like. If anyone will know, I will know in a few years because this is what I'm studying.
yeah,
But right now it's still very siloed.
yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, that not just in Uganda, I think in a lot of African countries where that's a norm. I know there's definitely vested interest in why, but um, we often get services from international companies and
Mm.
international vendors, whereas you have a lot of talented individuals, um, within country that can do the work. But again, I know there's a lot of hands in the pots in different places for reasons that we won't talk
Mm.
too much about. But it's unfortunate. And the reason why I asked about the white labeling pieces because um, there are often a lot of like entrepreneurs and startups that do have like some of these solutions that they may not necessarily build at scale, but they build enough to where it can serve the capacity that it's needed for whatever your use case is. In this case, let's say you need a EMR system for the several hospitals that you have in country. I'm pretty sure there's solutions that um, I can't speak for certain, but there could be solutions from local startups that can pacify those needs. Whereas if you start talking like from a scale standpoint, you may not necessarily have that, but you can work with a company that can actually scale to that. But they're not giving a lot of those opportunities because of unsaid reasons.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you're right. I mean, I tried to get in that space. Listen, my friends and I wanted to build an EMR
mhm.
for some private entities,
Yeah,
clinics. We wanted to start with clinics, just smaller clinics, before moving up to hospitals and things like that. Before then, moving up to government. But again, things are not clear. Things are
yeah,
not clear in Uganda. People waste your time. People take meetings and tell you
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Come back on Monday. Come back on Tuesday. The boss is
yeah,
not here. He's in the village. Come back on Thursday. And they just sort of jerk you around. And I just remember it being a very exhausting process of writing proposals and Excel sheets with projections and
yeah,
all that for someone to just jerk you around and waste your time
yeah,
before just getting the market, whatever's on the market from whatever entity is from
right,
abroad. And I understand why sometimes. Sometimes it's again, like you said, sometimes it's self-interest, sometimes it's just like a backdoor deal,
right,
sometimes it's just the idea of quality control.
right.
Because you're not experienced in the space, it's a
Yep,
more of a risk.
yep,
Even though that's why that kind of thing makes a lot more sense in certain contexts where you can maybe say, listen, we are homegrown, we're young, this is what our solution looks like, but we can grow together. You trust us, we can do this thing and build it
yep.
up, and then we can have partnerships with larger entities that can help us build
Exactly.
the capacity that raises confidence. So you're right about that. But yeah, like you said, these decisions happen for various reasons. Of course, I'm sometimes cynical, so I'm inclined to think not very good reasons for the
Right.
most part. But uh, uh, things are getting better. I think more homegrown startups are beginning to creep into some of these spaces.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's just at scale is where the challenge comes in.
Yeah, yeah.
They
And I
they have a
mean,
lot more heavy lifting to do.
yeah. I mean, it's hard to prove that you can scale when you don't have the opportunities, right? So,
Exactly,
you know,
exactly. It's that cyclical. I don't have a job, but I don't have experience. I need
yeah,
experience to get a job. Same
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. 10 years for entry level. I mean, that's
Hey,
that's
yo.
that's
Yeah.
what we're getting to right now.
It's funny because I came to DC, in January and I was looking for work. And this is actually the first time in my life that I've had to look for a job in this way.
Mhm.
But I tell you, I had never experienced the rejections because of too much work experience
It's
before.
crazy. It's crazy,
But
man.
that's a thing now too.
Yeah,
So that was interesting from that
yeah,
perspective.
yeah. No, I've heard the overqualified. I know. I We won't get too much into it, but I know that there's expenses when it comes to like turnovers and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's like there's a need. You have somebody that can fulfill that need, albeit 6 months, year, whatever it is. Are you willing to wait for some underqualified persons rather than hire somebody that's qualified, or vice versa? Um, are you willing to not hire somebody that you can train to capacity and to learn what they need to learn to be diligent and good in that job, versus trying to hire somebody that's the perfect fit per se? So I have those
Yeah.
issues from a tech standpoint, and I'm pretty sure it's also, it affects other sectors, but it's just really bothersome the way that the hiring process is done nowadays anyway. So
Yeah, I mean, I think with the case of being overqualified, I think they'd be worried that, you're going to come in there and develop a big
take
head
jobs.
overnight.
Yeah.
No, but also you're like, oh, I was overqualified, but I needed the job, so I'm just going to come in and get put my head down and work. And then 3 weeks in, you're like, I'm better than this. I'm
Yeah.
better than all these people.
And
You
how
know?
often is that the case? I mean, when people look for jobs, like, and are desperate for some things, like it's something to like fill a need, and it's not something going to leave in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Typically,
no,
yeah,
yeah, you're right. You're right. I just imagine that 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 thought process is based on some evidence.
yeah,
I don't know evidence of what, but it's probably based on some evidence or some like nexus point in the past that then informed that policy going forward.
yeah.
Something happened because some guy was overqualified and they're like, we're never doing this again. You
And
know?
that to me is the research I want to see, because it, again, I've not seen that research that points that, or the companies that actually like don't hire based upon overqualifications or semi underqualifications. Like if you're looking for 5 years and you get somebody that's like 3 or 4 years, like where is it wrong to hire that person? What data are you utilizing to substantiate that that's not the right fit? So things like that is kind of what I don't know. It
Yeah, I
just kind of
mean,
rubs me
did
the
you
wrong way.
see there was this whole debate that blew up on Twitter. I don't know if you're on Twitter like that.
No, no, no. What was it?
But about some guy in Silicon Valley, I forget his name, but he was giving a speech somewhere. It looked like a sort of TED type arrangement, and he was speaking to this group of people. And he was saying you essentially shouldn't. He was speaking to like startup founders, maybe people who are trying to get into the startup space in
Yep.
Silicon Valley, and he was telling them you shouldn't hire anyone over 30. All right, that's
Oh,
essentially
wow.
what he said. Don't hire anyone over 30. And it became this whole
Yeah.
discussion, not a discussion. It became a debate that was full of insults just being hurled back and forth on
Yeah.
Twitter because of people's philosophies on the whole
Right.
issue. Of course, there's the whole idea that it's illegal to discriminate by
Yeah. Yeah.
age
Yeah. Yep.
in the hiring process. So there's that. But yeah, that's what he said. He was like, "Don't hire anyone over 30." I can't even remember his logic. But I think a lot of it just has to do with how much you can pay or how much you want to pay.
Yeah.
Of course, this is America.
Yeah.
Capitalism can't help itself, and
Right.
so I think a lot of that is informed by how much you can pay, and also malleability of younger people. Yeah, younger people are much easier to box into some toxic culture
Yeah.
than a 30-plus-year-old person who kind of has more responsibilities and has been around for a bit.
Yeah.
So there's probably a lot of reasons why that is toxic and why that is preferred in that context.
Hey, what up, fam? This is Sar Levy, host of Africans in Tech, where we're building bridges and shaping futures in tech. Just a quick reminder for those who've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. You can catch all of our content, including our whiteboard sessions, where you'll find our full length videos on our channel. And hit that notification bell, fam. All right.